I guess we're just gonna kind of get right into it here. We're gonna talk about Anthem's kind of villains, I guess, real quick here. Well, not real quick. We're gonna talk about the Dominion, which are, we've established they are the villains of Anthem. I'm looking at this IGN First article here where they're talking about the villains. I'm just going to read the paragraph here. Generations earlier, the legendary General Tarsus formed the Legion of Dawn to keep the human population safe. Over centuries of conflict with Tarsus's legion resulted in the formation of various factions, each with their own unique motives. The Dominion, an aggressive military group from the north, is one such faction. One of the leaders, the Monitor, believes that he knows how to properly handle the Anthem of Creation. There's a specific place the Monitor needs to get to so he can control the Anthem, which is near Fort Tarsus's territory. Those big red glowing eyes with the large hands are called Furies. The Furies are one of the tougher opponents you'll be facing along your journey. So, yeah, the bad guy wants to do, quote-unquote, bad things with the Anthem of Creation. You know, when you have the power of life and death and all of creation in your hands with bad intent. Normally things go wrong. I'm gonna throw it out there. So I pulled up a fandom article on the Monitor. There's not really much yet, just because, you know, it's we don't have the game yet and we haven't explored all the lore or anything. But the Monitor is the ruthless leader of the Dominion. He carries out his actions in the name of, quote, the greater good, which has resulted in his kingdom carrying out heinous acts in his name. The Monitor claims to have witnessed firsthand the destruction of civilizations in the world due to the Anthem of Creation. In the current day, he plans to use the Anthem for his own destructive desires, though claims that its power under his control, he could bring it into humanity's suffering. So, yeah, I mean, this guy kind of, you know, militarized legion he has going on here, kind of killing people for quote unquote the greater good, that kind of thing. Kind of seems like a bad guy.
It's a good direction though. Like, you know, it's because a lot of times when you have a character that's just wants to be evil for no apparent reason, you know, like, so hopefully, you know, we'll get to kind of just, you know, learn like what happened to him, you know, who hurt him to make him want, you know, for this to happen. Like, you know, like, did his parents die because of the creators or something, and then that just put him on a path to, you know, wanting to basically seek revenge or you know, like something along those kind of lines, you know. So that will be fun, you know, kind of learning, you know, what reason put him on this path, you know, to this. So hopefully that's something that they go into depth with as we're living out the story.
Yeah, and that's something BioWare does really well too, is flesh out their villains. You know, with Mass Effect, you had Saren in the first game, and then the Elusive Man in the second game, and then kind of in the third game. But then you had the Reapers, which had their own kind of agenda. They do a good job with telling a villain's backstory, and even though, like, you know, sometimes villains aren't really fleshed out in a way that you like them to, BioWare always does a decent job, at least in Mass Effect. I don't know about the villains and stuff in Dragon Age, though a lot of people do really like that series and those characters and the villains in that game as well. BioWare
Dragon Age is a pretty massive fan base. So
yeah, and I mean, like, BioWare hasn't become BioWare by creating crappy characters, right? That's their thing, is character-driven RPGs. Also, by the way, maybe the best story about a villain ever, Knights of the Republic. So, you know, Darth Revan is kind of the bread and butter of a good storytelling about a bad guy. So I don't want to spoil that that game, but it's real good. It's real good. So the way they handle that story is pretty cool. So, but yeah, I want to see this character's motivations. I want to see why. Like, was he part of the Legion of Dawn and split off because he didn't believe in what they were doing? You know, like you said, did they like straight up murder his family when he was little and he wants revenge? Like, what's the deal here? Why is he the quote unquote bad guy? Is he going to be sympathetic? Is he going to be some sort of character we can relate to on some level? Because that's kind of what makes the best villain, is someone that, you know, you kind of sympathize for. And
yeah,
it's like, I mean, to compare it to like TV or something, it's why people like Tony Soprano, or why people like Frank Underwood in House of Cards, or you know what I mean? Like, they're villains that you cheer for almost because you relate to them on certain levels. And so
it's always fun, when you have those games where you think that you're playing as the good guys, and then there's a twist and you find out that, hey, wait a minute, I'm actually playing as the bad guys. Like, those kind of things are always fun too. You know, so like when you have a bad guy that you can like completely end up relating with because you find out that actually the bad guy was the good guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that that's going to be the case in this game, but it's, you know, like those kind of things are always make for an interesting game. And just, and for them to kind of, if they make the bad guy have some kind of legit reason where you could be like, I could see why he would be pretty pissed off, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm interested to see the other big twist here too that we haven't really talked about is they use the same kind of tech that humans use for javelins, right? They have the quote unquote Valkyries, which is their version of the javelins. You know, they use the same tech. So I want to see how that ties into the story as well. I'm actually going to click on this Dominion thing here.
Yeah, it does make it seem like maybe he was part of the team that built those at first, and then something happened where he just branched off.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read this thing here about the Dominion, because this might give us a little bit of an idea into why the Dominion is the opposing force in this game. The Dominion is based in a kingdom located to the north of Fort Tarsus. It is led by the mysterious individual known as the Monitor, which we just discussed. The Dominion believe the way to survival is peace through force. So they kind of sound like bad guys. And keep people on short leashes in terms of freedom, while the Monitor directs the Dominion for what he believes is the greater good. This means the Dominion is willing to carry out heinous acts in pursuit of its goals. The Dominion is an ancient enemy of the Freelancers, whom they are philosophically opposed to. They have always been a threat to Fort Tarsus, and in the present day, they remain in conflict with the Freelancers. Like the Freelancers, the Dominion has access to javelins. Notably, they designed the Storm Javelin through it, though it later fell into the hands of the Freelancers. Their version of the Storm Javelin is known as the Valkyrie, which they kind of modified, and they have similar but different attributes to the Storm Javelin. So the Dominion is attempting to use the Anthem of Creation as a weapon in order to establish their rule over the world. To achieve this, they seek to retrieve Shaper relics. The Freelancers moved to stop them, as the Dominion's actions were putting everyone at risk. So so that, what we were just talking about, we were wondering how they kind of fit into the why they use javelins as well, and it turns out they designed one of them. So there's that tie there. So
makes sense.
Yeah. So by the way, they're looking for these Shaper relics. So what Shaper relics are? They are the massive tools used by the Shapers, which are the gods that abandon the world, to create the world, which were able to tap into the mysterious Anthem of creation to form it. The Shapers endeavored to complete their work in 9 days, but suddenly vanished on the third, leaving the instruments behind. In the present day, these relics litter the landscape. While the relics have been long abandoned, they are by no means dormant. They continue to tap into, quote, echoes of the Anthem of creation and activate at random with often destructive consequences, leaving the world in a constant state of change and largely inhospitable, save for the freelancers equipped with Javelin exosuits. The relics can both spawn life and mutate existing life. So this kind of sounds like when you encounter a Shaper relic within the game, at least, it sounds like the Shaper relics are going to form the either the public event style things or, you know, the different events that happen in the world, because they did say the world is going to be the same for everyone, despite what instance you're in. So if there's a storm rolling in, everybody's going to experience the storm. If there's one of these Shaper relics decides to do something, it's happening, and it changes everybody's world. So
it's cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the whole elemental thing that they did, or the season stuff that they did with Forza and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like where like you have the actual seasons affect everyone.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That'll be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how, like, because like what if you go into like a stronghold and the strongholds have the Shapers and you need to, like, I don't know, figure out how to harness the Shaper to like manipulate the world or whatever. I don't know. I think it's gonna be kind of cool to see, but
yeah, like that would be kind of cool if if there was if there would be kind of like in Destiny you had the events or whatever.
Yeah, the public events.
Public events. Like, what if they have it where there's public events that are tied around that, and like people could not be in that public event doing stuff, and after the public event is done, like whatever like lightning storm was happening in a certain area would stop because of someone finishing the public event, and then people outside of the event could notice a change in the weather or a change in the whatever because of someone finishing that, regardless if they were in the event or not. Like they could kind of do something cool like that with that whole idea.
Yeah.